by unmuting yourself, or you can just message or chat with me on Teams. Okay. Now, today is the first day of Selenium training, and I have this course divided into different days as per schedule. Okay, but as a beginner, many times people have questions like a few frequently asked questions and all that is. And a basic question which almost everyone asks is that like how much time does it take to learn Selenium? Okay, it takes more than 2 months, 2+ months. Okay, although this course is for 7 weeks or something, but after the course also, you will have to, practice a lot. You'll have to learn all the types of frameworks and all. Okay, because just to learn this tool, it just might take you 10 days, 15 days to learn the commands and all. But to reach a level where you can go and clear an interview and all, it takes around 2 months of time. Okay, and yes, another question which generally people ask is that today is the first day, so I'm just taking few FAQs so that it becomes very clear to you that whether Java is required or not, or how much Java is required. Look, Java is the backbone. Okay, you cannot do without Java. Okay, Java is the backbone. Complete core Java is required for the training. Okay, which we are going to learn in the course as well. All right. And you cannot just run away from it. I've seen people ignoring Java and later on they face issues because they really don't know the logics and the programming. And in Java, you need to learn the object-oriented concepts. Oops. Okay. Which we are going to focus in the training as well. All right. And it's not just about learning Java. Look, if you today learn Java and you learn Selenium Java, and tomorrow you want to learn some other tools like you want to learn Rest Assured, which is for API testing or web services testing. This is very famous. Okay. Then learning Rest Assured also becomes easy because it is Java based and you have some programming or background in Java. Or you have to learn Appium, which is for mobile automation. Okay. Then also, it will help you a lot because you know Java, or you want to learn JMeter or any other automation tool you want to learn. Okay. So it helps a lot because once you learn this tool, learning others, it becomes easy. Okay. Right. So now out here, out here, um, moving ahead, like I just want to ask that any one of you having any questions, anything, please ask me. And in between the training also, you can be feeling free to ask anything. Right.
Hi
Same
Ashish,
link
this is
every day.
Devika.
No, no. Yeah, yeah, Renko, tell me.
Are you recording this meeting so that we can
Yes.
refer? Yeah,
Yes, I'm
thank you.
recording the meeting so that after the
Okay.
class you can refer this. And yeah, and every day you'll get a new meeting. I'll just check it out why you did not get it. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank
Yeah,
you.
because I've been waiting since yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just check it out after the class. Right. So out here, let's start with the training, right? I just discussed few FAQs now about Selenium and what it is, what are the components of Selenium, right? Now out here, if you talk about Selenium and what are the components, fine, and what all you need to learn, right? So initially, we had Selenium RC in the market. This was way back in 2007. Selenium RC had lot of drawbacks. Okay, it was known as RC remote control, Then somewhere in 2011, Selenium WebDriver it came up. Okay, Selenium WebDriver. Okay, right. And Selenium WebDriver it removed a lot of drawbacks. Okay, and out here, Selenium WebDriver had drawbacks. Some drawbacks were there. Okay, but gradually they got removed. Bugs were there. It got stable, and finally, the stable version was 3.14, I guess, .159. Okay, and then they came up right now in the market, right? And it was it is Selenium WebDriver 4 version. 4 is the latest version. It is not stable. Okay, it's still in the beta version. Okay, but there are hardly any version changes. Like this was Selenium WebDriver 3. Okay, between 3 and 4 there are hardly any changes. 4.4 is actually in the alpha version right now. Okay, so if you want to learn, you can learn 4. But if you want to work on a project, okay, you need to use the stable version, which is this one. All right, if you go to the official website of Selenium, fine. If you, this is the official website, that is selenium.dev. Okay, the first thing is that it is written very clearly over here, Selenium automates browsers. It's only for browser automation. It is not for desktop based applications. It cannot automate those. Okay. Moreover, if you go to the download section, you see they have clearly mentioned over here. Okay, it is 141.59. Okay. The latest stable version is 3.141.59. And the latest version of Selenium is 4.0 Alpha 6. You can learn this one. Okay. But if you want to work on a project, you can use this one. As far as commands are concerned, there are hardly any differences. Okay. Major difference comes in Selenium Grid. Okay. There is another component of Selenium which is known as Selenium Grid. Selenium Grid has changed a lot in Selenium 4. Okay, most of you must be knowing that Selenium Grid is for parallel execution of the test cases. Okay, because suppose you have got 10,000 test cases written in Selenium WebDriver. Okay, and then you have to parallelly run them. You will have to use Selenium Grid. It just saves time and also helps you to run the test cases on a different platform. Okay, in Grid we keep a single machine and we connect it to different other machines. All right, and the script, it runs on all the other machines. Okay, right. So out here, out here, we are going to learn WebDriver first. Okay, we will be learning WebDriver first, or we'll be learning WebDriver 4, and then later on we'll be learning Grid as well. Okay, but as far as Selenium is concerned, there are lots of things which you have to learn as a beginner. Okay, let me just give you an overview that how things work and how things they fall into places and what all you have to learn. Okay, look, generally what happens is that client comes to us and says that fine, these are maybe some 500 manual test cases, please automate them. Okay, so we start building automation scripts. Okay, and this can be your test case one, which has been automated script for test case one. This is test case two or test case three or test case four. Okay, so you build scripts, and then you have a certain requirement that you have to batch run them. That is, you have to run them one after another. Or client might also tell you that you want to, uh, execute them parallelly. Okay, that is use Selenium Grid. Okay. Moreover, when the scripts are running, you would also want that the data, your regular test data, should be read from some external file like a JSON file or a XLS file or you can say a properties file. There can be different files from which the data should be fetched and supplied to the scripts, because you don't hard code the data inside the scripts. Moreover, you would also want the client would want that fine. You He wants to generate some reports. The reports should be HTML reports. Okay, they should be having logs inside them, that is logs which will tell that what happened at each and every moment when the scripts were running. Okay, for example, just a minute. For example, these are some sample reports over here. This is just a sample report. Okay, like for example, for this particular test case, that is, it is starting the test and it is executing keywords, opening the browsers, and you are typing in the input field and all, and some failure happened in the end, and you have the screenshot of the failure as well. Okay, so this is the kind of report. This is known as extent reports technically. Okay, you want to generate with the logs as well as the screenshots embedded inside the reports. Guys, one request, I would request you to please check your microphone if it is on mute. Okay, because if it's not on mute, I can hear some background noises. All right. You can ask a question, unmute your microphone at that time. Fine. So the reports have to be generated, data has to be read from the Excel file and all. And there are many other things. Like, for example, the client might tell you to integrate the project with Grid, Jenkins, GitHub. What is Jenkins? What is Git? We are going to learn this in the training. Okay. And moreover, he would want you to, fine, you have to email the reports to all the team members. So Selenium is not going to do all these things. Selenium as a tool has got commands which will only interact with the browser. Okay, I'll tell you in some time. Hold on. So, this to facilitate all this, we use centralized controllers. This centralized controller can be, you must have heard the word TestNG or JUnit, or people also use BDD based frameworks like Cucumber, BDD, or anything. Okay, so what this centralized controller does is that it reads the data, it sends the data in the corresponding test case, it invokes it, it helps you generate the reports and also connect to Grid, Jenkins, and all this stuff. So this is just a theoretical knowledge I'm providing you. Selenium as a tool is only in this box. You can just build your scripts with Selenium. Selenium will just help you build the scripts. It will not and it will never help you, read data or generate reports or interact with Grid, or batch run the test cases or parallelly run the test cases. It will never actually do that because Selenium has just got the commands before the browser interaction. If you have to click on a browser, type something, close browser, open browser, something like that. Okay, so in this course, it is not just about learning Selenium. Okay, it's about learning a lot of things. First of all, you will have to learn Java, then you will have to actually understand Selenium WebDriver commands. Okay, then you will have to understand Excel or data reading basically. That is how to manage different files and read the data from there. Then you will have to learn TestNG. In this course, I prefer working with TestNG because it's a very good tool for building test cases and all. Okay, and there are many other things which you will have to learn, like you'll have to learn about extent report generation, how to generate reports, basically HTML reports. Right, and then you will and we'll do an end-to-end project or a framework in which we will also use Grid and Jenkins. Okay, so anyways, let's start. Okay, let's start with Java. Now, if you're a kind of a person who has never done programming, I mean, you even don't know what if statement is or what for loop is, then I would request you not to join the training directly. Okay, we have got videos. Get the access to the videos, watch them, get some background, and then join the training by. And you don't have to pay the full amount. Then you just have to pay the difference amount while joining the training. Okay, now most of you must be knowing things which I'm going to tell you, but there are people in the training who are absolute beginners. So I'm starting from beginning. The first thing is that please install JDK. Okay, and install JDK 8. This is the most stable version. Okay, and you go to the first link on Google and you can scroll down and download it for your Windows operating system 64 32-bit, or if you have Mac. Okay, you can download and install the CXE. You'll have to create an account on Oracle. Okay, user ID and password and all, and you can download that. Fine, and install it. And once you install it, you can verify that in your C drive program files, there will be a folder known as Java, and JDK 1.8, that is basically JDK 8 would be present over here. Okay, now the next thing is that you have to download Eclipse. Fine, just go to Google and type download Eclipse. Eclipse is the editor for Java in which we'll have to write the code and all. So click on the first link. Most of you must be having this. Okay, you can download the Eclipse IDE. All right, from here, version doesn't matter as a beginner. Okay, generally people ask us that which version you have to install. You can install any version, right? And once you have Eclipse over here, you can start up Eclipse, double click on Eclipse and define your workspace. For example, I'll call this workspace as October 2020. This is the path of the workspace. This is the path where you will be making all the projects and you'll be learning and storing your Java files and all. Okay, and click on launch. Hold on. So if you look at this screen, this is the welcome screen, and you can close the welcome screen from here. Right. Now this is the project where we keep this is the area where we keep the projects and all. Okay, you can create a new, you will have the option project, and under Java, you can select Java project. Fine. And I'll just call it as day one. Okay. So when you expand this, you will see JRE system library. This is nothing but Java, which is installed in your PC. Okay. And
Ashish, can I ask question
yes,
in between?
yes.
Usually we were using the IntelliJ in our project. So will that make a difference for the training if we am using the Eclipse instead of IntelliJ?
Yeah, look, there are two editors. One is Eclipse editor, one is IntelliJ. You can use anything. Okay, look, both of them are just editors wherein you can have to write, you can simply create projects and write the code. So it really doesn't matter once you if you use Eclipse or IntelliJ editor, the process is going to remain the same. The coding is same. Okay,
Okay, thanks.
right. The UI is different. This Eclipse has a different UI, IntelliJ has a different UI. In the end, the stuff is same. Okay. Maybe some controls or these menus are different over there in the IntelliJ. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Now, out here, you see this is the source folder where we'll be writing all the Java code and all. Okay. Now, if you right click on the project in Eclipse, you have lots of options. We will be looking at these options one by one. Okay. Most important being the properties option, which comes in the end. And this is the path of the project where which we just created the workspace. Fine. You click on this small arrow and this day one project will open on the hard drive as well, that the place where it is where we created it. And under it there is a source folder and there is a bin folder. Under the source folder we'll be creating the Java files and all. Okay, like for example, I'll just create a new class. Right click on the source folder, create a new class. Fine. And I'll just call it as basics. With the main function, please check this. So it will generate a new Java file. Okay, just a minute. Let me increase the font size. Yeah, I hope it is clear now. So this is the class basics and under it you have the main function. Main function is there in every programming language. It is the starting point of the program. What is public, what is static? Okay, these things will be clear to you as we learn object oriented programming. Look, what I am assuming that you know basic things, that what an integer is. It's there in C language as well. Every language has these. What a string is. Okay, right. So you know basic things like how to write a for loop or a while loop. I'm assuming these basic things because what I want to focus is on OOPS, object oriented programming. The complete architecture of Selenium is based on OOPS. If you uh, go to the official website of Selenium, right? And if you scroll down under, you will see under the download section under Java, you'll see Java and you will see the API docs link. This is the official documentation of Selenium and this is completely object oriented in nature. You can learn a lot from this documentation. Even I have learned Selenium from this documentation. But before coming into automation testing, like I was into development. So I had the concepts of object-oriented programming with me. So understanding Selenium from this documentation became very, very easy. Okay, although I had to search a lot on Google as well, but as it was not that I was not knowing Java and I directly jumped over to documentation. Okay, you have to learn Java first. You have to learn object-oriented programming, OOPS, and then you have to actually jump over to this documentation. Fine. So we will be starting off with oops and all. Okay. And in Java, if you have to type something, the command is system.out.println. You just type syso and hit control spacebar of your keyboard. Okay, and you can type anything. Fine, and run the program. You can run the program from this small run button on the top. Okay, when you run this, you see it prints hello Selenium. Okay, now few things very basics, but they trouble people a lot. Like this is my package explorer in which you can see day one and all everything. Sometimes, people close this by mistake. Or this is my console window. Sometimes people close this by mistake and it goes away and you really don't know how to bring back that stuff. Okay, so to bring that, you can go to window, show view, and you can click on console. So this console output window will be coming up again, and you can go to window, show view, project explorer, and on the left side, you see project explorer comes up. Fine. And expand it, you will be having this basics.java file. Another important thing is this link with editor. Okay, I will tell you in some time. I can't just tell you right now. Okay, now in Java, if you right click and go to the project location, you see this is the source folder and this is the Java file which we have made. You can directly open it in Notepad or something. And corresponding to Java file, what Eclipse does is that inside the bin folder is not visible in Eclipse. Okay, this particular bin folder is not there. It is nowhere over here to be found. Okay, Eclipse, what it does is that it keeps the class files inside the bin folder. Now you need to understand what a class file is. Okay, corresponding to every Java file, you have a class file. If I create a new class known as say print name.java and inside it I go and just print my name, say for example Ashish. And if I run the program, Ashish will be created. But if you look at the bin folder, this bin folder will have print name dot class file generated. Now what is this class file? It's this is actually the file which gets executed. Every Java file is converted to the class file and the JVM, the Java runtime environment, okay, or machine, it goes and executes this class file. You will not be able to understand any content of this class file. Okay, right. But what happens is that suppose there is a project and in that project you end up making a lot of Java files. Okay, and what will happen is that corresponding to each Java file, there will be a class file. Okay, and when you have to do a deployment, like at times people say that we are doing a deployment, they are actually deploying these class files on the server. Okay, so generally what happens is that when the deployment has to be done, technically all these class files are put inside a single file. Okay, and that single file is known as a jar file. Many of you might have heard about the word jar in Java. Jar file is nothing but a collection of many class files, because when we work in a project, maybe we'll have 1000 class files. So to manage every single class file is not easy. So we put them in a single file known as a jar file. It's like something like zip. When we have multiple folders, we zip all of them and create one file, right? So jar file is just like a zip file in which we have multiple class files. Okay. For example, over here, if you expand JRE system library, which is the Java library, you will see so many jar files. These jar files have got inbuilt classes, class files, which are given by Java to us, and they have got some pre-built features. Okay, for example, if I just write over here new date, I'll create object of the date class. Now, what is new date? What is this object creation? I will tell you later on. Okay, just import the date from java.util package. So I'm using this date class. This date class is present somewhere in these jar files. And when I run the program, it gives me the current date, time, time zone, year, month, everything. So I don't have to do the hard work to find which day it is, which month it is, what is the time and all everything. So everything has been done by this date class, which is inbuilt. The commands are inbuilt. Okay. So similar thing happens in case of Selenium. Everything, all the things, everything is in the jar. There are standard commands which you have to learn, but there is a technique behind those commands as well. Those commands are not as simple as printing the dates. Okay, right. For example, the first thing is that you have to download Selenium. Okay, look, I am not going to take this training something like first 5, 6, 7, 10 days. I'll teach you Java, then Selenium. No, I'll teach you concepts of Java and Selenium parallelly. I'll teach you Java and I'll tell you how Java can be used in Selenium. Okay, so this is the Java version and you can download the alpha. Okay, you can click on alpha download and you can download the alpha 6 version. Now this version will not give you anything but simple jar files. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute. Out here, if you right click on the project, properties, Java build path. Just a minute, guys. Okay, anyways. So I cannot find the jars. So they are downloading right now.
It's
It will
still
take
downloading,
some
yeah.
time. Yeah, it's downloading. So the thing is, once it downloads, you have to import these jars inside your Eclipse. Okay, so you have to right click on your Eclipse, go to the properties, and in properties, you will see different tabs. Go to Java. In Java build path, you have got different tabs. Go to the libraries tab. In the libraries tab, you will already see that fine JRE system library, which is nothing but Java, which is installed is add. And you can click on this button, add external jars, and you can add the jar files for Selenium from here. Okay, so I think I already had those jars instead of downloading. Okay, I'm not remembering where have I kept them. Okay, anyways, so I'll use this downloaded package. right, extract it over here. Okay, I'll put this package in some folder. Right. So once you download these jars, you get lots of jars out here. Plus you get jars which are under the lib folder. These jars are provided by Selenium people. Okay, they have got inbuilt classes and inbuilt commands which you can use. So don't forget that there are some jars in the lib folder as well. Okay, in your Eclipse, when you click on add external jars, okay, you need to go to the location where the jars are present, select all the jars outside the lib folder and add those jars in the project, and also select the jars which are present inside the lib folder. Don't forget this. Okay, add them as well. Click on apply and close and you will see a referenced library section generated over here in which all the jars would be present. Okay, you can also use different other tools like we will learn Maven later on, which will automatically add these jars. You don't have to do manually. Okay, but right now I'm just telling you how you can manually configure, and your project is now Selenium enabled. It is Selenium ready. Okay, right. In case you don't see this reference libraries section, you just have to click on this small icon, open perspective, and select Java from here. Okay, right. So I cannot just directly jump over to Selenium now.
Ashish,
Hello?
Ashish, Ashish,
Yes,
can I?
yes.
Is it mandatory to add to all the jar files, or can we select a couple of jar files and add it to the Eclipse?
No, you have to add all of them. Okay, you have to add all of them.
Okay,
You,
so
you can,
everything is related to Selenium only.
yes, all these are Selenium jar files. Okay. If you miss
Okay,
some of them, your Selenium will not work properly. Okay, Selenium is not installed.
okay.
There is no exe for Selenium. Okay, you just have to add these jars inside Eclipse. Okay,
Okay.
okay, thanks. Right. So now,
Excuse me, just a quick question, Ashish.
yeah,
Isn't aren't we just adding the Selenium Jack, which is the 3.141.159 59? Isn't that the only jar that we're adding to Selenium?
no, we downloaded the Alpha 4 version. We downloaded this one. I downloaded the Alpha.
Okay.
This is the download link for 3.141 jar files. Okay, this link will download the jar files corresponding to the version 3.141.59. Look, this is the version corresponding to these versions. There are multiple jar files.
Right,
Okay.
because when I did that for the 3.141.59 is it was just a single jar, and the
Yes. If you download from the above link, if I download the alpha from this link, it will give me a single jar file. Okay.
okay.
This single jar file would be a combination of all these jars. They have done it like this. Plus, this single jar file also has got capabilities or inclusions for Selenium Grid, which is to run the tests parallelly. So actually, we will use this single jar file when we learn about Grid. Okay, right now we are not learning Grid, so I just downloaded it from here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Now, the next thing is like we have configured Selenium, but we cannot just fire the commands like this. So you will have to learn or understand OOPS, which is object oriented programming. Okay, but before I jump over to oops, there is also one very important thing which at times people miss and later on they fall into problems, which is actually called as debugging. You can debug your Java programs, and debugging helps you a lot when you're writing complex programs. Right. For example, I'll just create a new class known as debugging examples. Now suppose I write over here starting, then I declare a variable int I equals to 6. Then I write a loop that is for int say j equals to 0 to j less than 10, j plus plus, and I print I cross j. So basically I am running, if I run this, it will print the table of 6. Okay, from 6 cross 0 to 6 cross 9. All right. And in the end, I can also print ending. Okay, now you can run this program line by line as well. The run button over here will simply run this whole program. In debugging, what happens is that you can put a breakpoint. Say in front of line number 5, I put a breakpoint. I double click and you will see a small dot coming up in front of line number 5. Why debugging is used? You will get to know in some time what is the importance. Okay, if I run it and if I run it in the debug mode, you see this is a small bug icon. Okay, if I click on this small bug icon, you will see that you will get confirm perspective switch window. Okay, and you switch to this perspective, debug perspective. Okay, and you will see the entire screen will change. And there will be a green line on this particular line. This green line basically means that the control has stopped on this particular line. Okay, if you hit F6 of the keyboard, F6, this particular line will execute and it will print starting. Okay, you can run the program line by line with the help of F6, and on the over here in this section, variables section, you will be able to see every variable, the name of the variable as well as the value of that particular variable at runtime. Okay, for example, you have a variable I over here. The control is on this line. If I hit F6, you see the value of the variable I will be printed over here that it is 6. And if I hit F6 again, J will also come up. J is 0. So 6 cross 0 would be 0 and see 0 is printed on F6. Now I again hit F6. The value of J will increase to 1 in the second iteration of the loop. So at runtime, you can actually see the variable values. Okay, you keep on hitting F6 and you see that it will keep on running the program. And at runtime, you will see the value of variables also changing. This is very helpful because at times when you are building some complex big scripts and you really don't know where things are going wrong, so you can run the script line by line and see. And as a beginner, it helps you a lot. If you hit F8 of the keyboard, F8, F8 will let the program run normally, just like a normal program, and it will end. Okay, so F6 is to line by line run the program, and F8 is for normal run. Okay, if I again click on this debug icon, the control will stop on this line. If I hit F6, it is line by line. And if I hit F8, it is a normal run. You can also put multiple breakpoint. For example, I will put one breakpoint on this line and one on line number 15. And in the breakpoints section, you will be able to see those breakpoints. You can remove from here as well. Okay. So you have got two breakpoints in the program. And if I run this, the control will stop on the first breakpoint. Maybe you can debug something. And if I hit F8, it will run normally and stop on the next breakpoint. Okay. From this breakpoint, maybe I can hit F6 and run it normally as per my requirements. Okay. In case you want to terminate the program in the end, there is this terminate button as well. It's at both the location, it's at the top as well. You can click on it and you can terminate the program in between. Debugging helps a lot. When you are building complex scripts, debugging, it helps a lot. All right. Now this, if you want to move back to the original window, not this, the debug window, you can click on this open perspective icon and select the Java perspective. There are different perspectives. Okay, we generally use the debug or the Java perspective when we are working with Selenium. Okay, you select the Java perspective and the normal view window, which was earlier, will open up. Okay, another thing in Eclipse is that always, keep this two arrows. You see these two arrows, link with editor. This is basically known as link with editor. Always keep them clicked. The reason is that whichever Java file which I open, suppose if I open print name, that will get highlighted on the left side. Okay. If you don't have this clicked, whichever Java file you open over here will not be linked towards the editor on the left. Okay, it helps a lot. You will realize this with time. So please keep this thing clicked. Whichever Java file you open will be open, because when the Java files, they become huge, say even 50 Java files. So it helps a lot in navigating where that particular Java file is, which is currently opened in the program. Okay, so I'll start off with OOPS, but I'll start it off tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow I will talk about object-oriented programming. Fine, and how it is used in Selenium, and we'll write some few basic Selenium commands as well. Okay, I don't want to start it right now because obviously I'll take some time to finish those. Right. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me.
Ashish, can we see this recording, which is getting recorded now during the class?
Yes, you will get an email in some time with the recording.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you'll get in some time with the recording.
And Ashish, which one of the Selenium jars we have to download? The
You can download the alpha one, not a problem.
alpha one, and the one jar link or the multiple ones which you have
Use
downloaded.
the multiple ones in the beginning.
Okay.
The one which I use.
You mentioned, I'm sorry, you mentioned something about the core Java videos. I'm just wondering if we can also get access to that.
We have got core Java videos. Okay, but core Java videos uh, are very different than what is required in Selenium. Okay, core Java course is there. We have a core Java course, but that is very elaborate. You don't need so many things which are there in that particular course in case of Selenium. Okay, you don't need to learn multi-threading and all those things. But still, if you want to brush up your skills very much in core Java, you can go for that course. Otherwise, in Selenium, we have covered Java in the pre-recorded sessions. Okay, And that Java which you get in the pre-recorded sessions of Selenium is more than enough for, for Selenium. So all these collections, object-oriented programming concepts. So all these are covered. File handling, JSON, YML, XML. Okay, so this is more than enough for Selenium.
And when do we get access to those pre-recorded sessions?
Once you enroll into the training, you will automatically get the access. You will get an email with user ID and password.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So
Hi,
the
Ashish.
recording of the current session I'm going to mail you. Yeah, tell me.
Hi, Ashish. How are you? How is your health? I wanted to ask
Yeah,
before.
yeah, I'm good now. Last batch I got corona and it got
Oh,
all
okay. Are you
disrupted.
recovered? Are you feeling
Yeah,
tired?
yeah, I'm fine now. Perfectly fine.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So I saw those videos. They're very good and very in-depth
Yeah,
videos. Some of
pre-recorded
them.
videos are very elaborate.
Yeah. So, but is this training course, how many days we learn Java here? Will it be that elaborate? Like, because it's
In
97-hour videos, right? Like 97 hours, I think.
in the pre-recorded videos, I've taken Java very elaborately. In the
Yeah.
in the current batch, I cannot take it that elaborately, but yes, I will try my best to first like teach you Java, then teach Selenium parallelly. Okay. The pre-recorded versions, all obviously they will have very elaborate Java modules because that is not time constraint. There is no
Yeah.
constraint for that.
But I prefer like you do like this today, like little fast, because if you have a questions, we can go to the pre-recorded videos and then see.
Yeah, you can, yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I think this is good. Like if you go little fast, like today, I think this is good.
Yeah, in the regular training, I go like this only.
So,
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
okay, you will cover the page object model, right?
Yes, I can cover that. There are different types of frameworks like hybrid framework, data-driven, page object
Okay.
model. I
Okay.
cover one of them in the training.
Mm.
Basically, what people want, I go by that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if
Yeah,
you can cover. So there will be a live project also we will be